episode 470 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. I will be talking about tonight's episode of WWE NXT and talking about some of the news going on in the world of professional wrestling right here, right now. 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hey, Wrestling Fanatics. Welcome to tonight's episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. I am your host, Lance Brock, here on this Tuesday night to talk some pro wrestling. And like I said at the top of this podcast on that little preview thing, we'll be talking about tonight's WWE NXT, and then after that, gonna talk about some pro wrestling news. But first though, like I've said, now that season 4 of Dark Side of the Ring is over, I wasn't quite too sure if I was gonna keep doing the Tuesday night episode of the podcast, just talking only NXT, and I decided to do an episode tonight and recap NXT, but I'm not sure if this is going to be an every week thing or not. It could be, but also there's a chance that I could just talk about tonight and not next week, or maybe even the week after, or just whenever I feel like doing an episode of 360 and talking about NXT, I'll do it. But next week, if I feel like there's a good episode of NXT and I want to recap it and talk about it on the podcast, then there will be a new episode next Tuesday night. But until then, let's get into tonight's episode of WWE NXT on USA, live from the Capitol Wrestling Center, the WWE Performance Center. Our commentators tonight, Vic Joseph and Booker T. And we start things off with a match for the NXT Tag Team Championships on the line. The family, Tony D'Angelo and Channing Lorenzo, defeat the Dyad, Jagger Reed and Rip Fowler, with Joe Gacy and Ava Raine from Schism in their corner. Blair Davenport and Dana Brooke go at it one-on-one. Dana Brooke has Kalani Jordan in her corner. There I go, forgetting again. First match. Well, actually, I don't think I'm going to do ratings for each match. And then I think for tonight's episode, I'll just do an overall rating. Sorry about that, though. And this match I thought was actually pretty good. Told a pretty good story in this one. And at one point, Dana Brooke gets a little frustrated with herself. She goes to the floor, and I think she grabbed the ring bell, was about to go back in the ring and use it. And Kalani Jordan actually stopped her and talked her out of using the ring bell. And when she went back in the ring, almost cost her the match. Davenport almost got the win with a roll-up. This went on for about another minute or so, and Blair Davenport gets the win over Dana Brooke. Trick Williams defeated Drew Gulak, and Wes Lee defeated Donovan Dijak. Although I know that's not his NXT name now, but still used to calling him that, to become the number one contender for the NXT Championship. And also, we have an in-ring segment with Baron Corbin. Cuts a pretty good promo here. Talks about I can't even think of his name now. The one wrestler from the Olympics. He just showed up on NXT not too long ago. I can't even remember his name right now, but that one guy they made a big deal of signing. See, I can't even think of his name now. And then, now it's going to probably bother me the rest of the night, but that one guy, I don't know. But they're interrupted by see, now I can't even remember who they're interrupted by. The guy with Robbie E, or Robbie Stone, or Robert Stone, whatever WWE calls him now. Von Wagner. And I thought this was pretty well, actually. And Corbin gets in the face of Von Wagner, tells him he needs to learn to talk, and he talks about how on the debut episode of SmackDown on Fox, how he got on the mic with The Rock in the ring, and then Von Wagner ends up clotheslining him over the top rope. Tyler Bate and Joe Coffey, that went to a no contest. And JC Jane defeated Thea Hale with Duke Hudson and Andre Chase in her corner. This ended with Andre Chase on the apron. Thea Hale was trying to get him down. She didn't want him getting involved. That distracted her, costing her the match against JC Jane. And after the match, Thea Hale, of course, upset after the loss, just storms off to the back. And so far, I wouldn't say I am quite sure, but this could possibly be leading to an angle where Thea Hale maybe turns heel and leaves Chase U, which I would be a fan of because I do like Thea Hale, but that's about the only thing I like about Chase U and this whole gimmick. Other than her, not a fan of it. I don't want to be too negative or talk too bad about it, but this whole Chase U thing really doesn't do anything for me. And then to close tonight's NXT, we have the contract signing for the NXT Championship match, which I believe will take place next week at ECW that's another old habit I'm used to saying. NXT Heatwave, I meant to say. But it's just that normally when I hear a show being called Heatwave, I usually go back and think of the old ECW show, Heatwave, which I know I'm getting off topic again, but on the newest episode of Marty Skrull's podcast, Chillin' with the Villain, they talk about ECW Heatwave 1998. So if you have not heard that episode of Marty Skrull's Chillin' with the Villain podcast yet, I definitely recommend that you check that out. Give it a listen. It's really good. And it's a good podcast. Check out the other episodes too. So, also, another thing I forgot to mention from tonight's episode was that there was a backstage segment with Braun Breaker. And now I don't even see, that's how bad my memory is, why I should take notes. And they have the contract signing. Both men sign, and then they stand up. Carmelo Hayes and Wesley both sign, and then they both stand up, and for some reason Wesley, the former Desmond Xavier, jumps up and stomps through the table for some reason, and NXT goes off the air. So that was tonight's episode of WWE NXT. I'd have to say that the show tonight wasn't too bad. I wouldn't say it was real great either though, but definitely didn't think it was bad at all, in my opinion. Could have been better though, but still, I wouldn't say it was really a bad episode though. And now to get into some news going on over the weekend, or going on in the world of pro wrestling. I got a little ahead of myself, something I was going to say. Sorry. Now, there's some news, if you remember, back when Bayley was in NXT, her little super fan, Izzy, that was always there in the front row. I bet this will probably make people feel old. Over the weekend, she had her debut match for Mission Pro Wrestling. It's hard to believe that, especially since it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, that she's much older now and having her first pro wrestling match. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll see WrestleMania Bayley versus Izzy. That could definitely be a possibility. And some more news. Former WWE superstar Enzo Amore, now known as Real One, will be making his debut in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And also, I wanted to talk a little bit about the new CM Punk controversy in AEW. And like I kind of talked about before, I'm not sure if all the backstage news and stuff you hear about is exactly true just because you read about it online. But now the new stuff that is taking place was last Saturday night after Collision went off the air. CM Punk got on the mic in front of the live crowd and cut another promo talking about Hangman Adam Page. He called him, I want to say, a peg warmer because his action figures don't sell at the stores. And today, actually, earlier today, I saw that they say he apologized to Hangman Adam Page for that, for those comments and that promo. And also, apparently, there was a backstage argument I saw the other day with him and Ryan Nemeth. Of course, Ryan Nemeth, the Hollywood hunk, the brother of WWE superstar Dolph Ziggler. And also, today, earlier, I saw something about him and Jack Perry having an argument backstage before Collision. And, of course, you don't know if any of this backstage news, rumors are exactly true. But there are also reports about Punk, since, like he said, he's a Collision guy that shows built around him. And now they're saying that anybody that he doesn't like or thinks there's going to be drama around is he doesn't want them there, doesn't want them at the arena. And one that they say he doesn't want there and hasn't been at Collision, I'm guessing, is the head of talent relations, the fallen angel Christopher Daniels. Which, if this is true, it's just, I don't know. It's just too bad because I just wish everybody involved, Punk, the Elite, and there was the stuff with Colt Cabana too, of course. Haven't really heard too much about Cabana and Punk, about how they've been lately. I'm still sure not good, but I just wish they would get along and put the problems and stuff behind them, move on, get over it, and put what's best for the company first. AEW have the biggest show in company history coming up in just a little less than 2 weeks, all in London, so they should definitely be focusing on what's best for the country instead of all these little arguments, bickering back and forth, and just focus on making AEW the best pro wrestling promotion that it can be. And that's all for this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Thank you for everyone tuning in. Hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Remember, if you have any questions, comments, or if you want to leave feedback on tonight's episode of NXT, or if you want to give your opinion on the whole CM Punk AEW situation, you can in the comment section here on Spreaker, YouTube, or whichever podcast website you listen to on. Either one is fine. Remember, I might not be doing an episode every Tuesday night, so just have to check out when there is a Tuesday night episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Remember, this Thursday, 4 p.m., and the second episode of 360 Anything Goes drops. And this week, I'm talking about an episode of Full House, Beach Boy Bingo from Season 2, which is the first appearance on Full House by the Beach Boys. Hope everyone enjoys that. And we'll hopefully be back tomorrow night for 360 Wrestling Fanatic to recap tomorrow's AEW Dynamite. But before then, we'll be back tomorrow morning for the Wednesday Good Morning Wrestling fans, where I will preview tomorrow night's AEW Dynamite. So make sure you tune in to GMWF tomorrow morning. But that is all for now. And until next time, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.